Welcome back to another episode of Your Hero's Journey. We are officially in season 2, which means season 2 will be focused on today's community builders.
At the end of the day, we're always going to be known as those guys who threw that iconic yellow party. Let's just stick with yellow party. Let's just keep it simple.
So you guys have scaled the yellow party from beyond just a party. The business model has essentially changed.
Yep.
How did you guys grow it to that point?
Consistency.
How did you guys decide on whose role was going to be what? And also tell us what the roles are amongst the brothers.
I'll first start off by saying working with family is not easy. Because we're so close, you have a different dynamic. And so it's challenging.
Welcome back to another episode of Your Hero's Journey, a holistic business podcast where we focus on the mental, spiritual, and tactical approaches of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. Now, we are officially in season 2, which means that we are moving on to a whole completely new industry. If you're not familiar, Your Hero's Journey focuses on one industry per season. Season 1 was all focused on food and culinary, and season 2 will be focused on today's community builders. Now, that means anyone that has carved out an imperative niche space and essentially has the ability to tell people to pull up, and thousands of people will pull up. Now, on today's episode, I am very honored to have Brandon McClary as our first guest. Now, Brandon not only manages partnerships for Cannes Lion, but he is also one of the co-founders of the Yellow Party. Now, Yellow Party started as a party in New York City, however, has grown to a Black entertainment company that caters towards creatives and professionals. We'll get into a little bit of the specifics of what that exactly means, but I would love to welcome our guest, Brandon.
Wow.
Brandon, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And like I said before, I feel like Black people look so good in yellow. You killed it today.
Yes, and if you guys are watching on Spotify or YouTube video, you will see that we are both dressed in yellow for the occasion. And he's right. I actually am kind of loving this yellow on me.
No, you killed it. You killed it.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, we will start off with some rapid fire questions just to get the audience familiar with who you are and what you stand for. So feel free to answer the questions in 1 or 2 sentences or even just one word.
Cool.
So what is your ethnic background?
Black, black, black.
We love it. And where did you grow up?
From Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. So Old Town, Sunshine State. That's that's where my roots are. That's where my family's from. So.
Okay, love that. And would you consider yourself religious or spiritual?
1000%. My faith, I'm Christian. It's everything for me, and it's my foundation.
Okay. Now, how would you define entrepreneurship?
I would say entrepreneurship is simply having an idea and doing everything it takes to bring that idea to life. And so it's a lifestyle, it's a mentality, and it's not for everyone.
It really is not. And where would you say you currently are in your entrepreneurial journey?
Good question. So for me, I'm on year 6 with Yellow Party.
Okay.
And so I've been able to see so many different stages of the entrepreneurial process. And if I had to put one word into like where I'm at currently in my entrepreneurial journey, I would say balance.
That's a great one. That's a hard one to have in the entrepreneurial journey. So we'll get into that. Okay. And how would you define community?
That's a good question. I would say community is the people that you support, the people that you love, the people that you feel comfortable with, and the people that embrace you. I feel like that's your community.
And who is the community for the Yellow Party?
Ooh, my favorite. Our community is made up of the emerging leaders, creatives, professionals across the world, really. I mean, we're based here in New York, but our impact has been able to reach those leaders, those next generation of leaders and professionals and creatives across various industries.
Love that. Okay, so thank you for answering all of our rapid fire questions. So I want to start from the beginning. You started the Yellow Party when you were at Revolt, which was your very first job coming out of college. You were fresh off of an internship of Spotify, and most people in this time would be more so focused on just climbing the corporate ladder, but you're fresh into your first job, and you're also starting a whole entrepreneurial business. Yeah. Take us back to that moment and why you felt like it was so imperative to start it during that time.
Yeah, so to be honest, it started very organically. I was not seeking out to be an entrepreneur per se. It really started in the spur of the moment. So Yellow Party was formed by my brothers and my two really close friends. And we're very social people. We all have very like different social groups, but I feel like we had an act for bringing people together. We're also brunchaholics.
I love that word.
We're literally brunchaholics. And so it was one day my brother Gabe, we were sitting at brunch one day and we're like, man, like we do this all the time. We always bring our friends together. What if we did, and it was so random. He was like, what if we did an all yellow themed brunch? And we started laughing. We were like, Gabe, that's so random.
But let's do it.
But like, let's do it though. So, I mean, it really, that's kind of where the idea was birthed. And I think we have an act for like inserting our energy. We're all very fun people. So if it's a brunch, whether it's like a house party or whatever we're doing, like casually, we have a certain energy about us that people just gravitate towards. And so, yeah, we started telling our friends about this all yellow brunch, but somehow like the word got out. And so many people were interested, and we were like, man, we can't find a restaurant that's going to accommodate this many people. We need to make
And how many people are we talking?
It was like, at that time, it was probably like maybe over 100 people that were like interested.
Wow.
And so we were like, man, let's make this a party. Like we've never thrown an official event. Like let's find a real venue and let's make this a thing. And so that's really how it came about, you know. So it was very organic. We didn't really seek out to start anything. It was just kind of like us having fun, us being creative, and yeah, just kind of going with what felt right at the time.
I love that. Okay, so you initially started to put something together just for a brunch, and now you have over 100 people interested, where now you have to get a venue, and it's really bigger than a brunch.
100%.
So what were the next steps that you guys had in your mind, and how much money did you guys have to input that obviously you weren't expecting to at first?
Good question. So I think the biggest thing was like understanding what the hell we were doing.
Yep, absolutely.
We were like, okay, how do people do this thing? Like, okay, we got to find a venue. And so we were asking around, and nothing seemed to be the right fit, or things were a little bit too expensive. And so literally after work, and we all have like 9-to-5 jobs and stuff too. So like after work, we were like going venue hunting and just asking around. We got some advice from some of our homies who were like already throwing their own events on like how they were doing it. But yeah, we ended up coming across a really dope venue in Union Square called Bar 13.
Oh, yes.
A lot of New Yorkers might be familiar with that spot.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we found the venue, and then we were like, okay, since this is a party, let's make an Instagram page for it just to get people excited. But it wasn't anything deeper than that, but we just decided to promote it on Instagram. So we made a page for it. And then, yeah, we knew we wanted to make it an experience as well. So we tapped in with some really cool DJs that we liked that happened to be homies. And then my brother, one of my brothers, Ryan, who is our in-house DJ, he's also an artist. And so he was promoting 2 singles at the time. So we were like, we want a live performance, so we'll have Ryan perform. So we were like, okay, like we're gonna make this thing a thing. So we really just started, getting the venues, getting the talent, and yeah, just inviting everybody, making it like, telling all the ends of the earth about this party.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how intentional would you say that you were being during this time? Because obviously I think when you mentioned initially you just wanted to have an intimate brunch, but now it's almost like you guys are in just execution mode.
Yeah.
Were you just really trying to find a venue that can host that amount of people, or did you want to ensure that you were curating something intentional, or did the community aspect kind of come afterwards?
That's a good question. At the end of the day, we just wanted people to have as much fun as we usually do.
Love that.
We want people to have the time of their life the same way that we do on a regular basis. And so we're like, we need to share this energy with the world. So that was really our mentality. And everything else, like in terms of like the venues and the collaborators, it was really just off of like, our motto has always been to follow the energy. And you always got to recognize when certain things come easier or when certain things are more smooth in terms of like, acquisition or like, collaboration. Those are the things that are the right fit. So yeah, like this venue, like they were just kind of no questions asked. It did come with a fee. And so, we had at the time, it was such a big investment for us, but we were just like, we like the energy that they're giving us. And So yeah, we were just really operating off of like what felt right and just excitement. We just wanted to exude that excitement that we have on a consistent basis when we're with each other, to our community, to our friends. So it was very pure intentions.
I love that. And how much all in would you say that you guys all had to come out of pocket for?
Ooh, yeah. So let me think. I think the venue rental was about like $3,000.
Okay.
Which was a lot for us.
That's a bit. That's a lot. That's a lot for me now.
It was a lot, you know. But we were like, it's going to go up. Like, let's just do it. So, yeah, I think it was the venue. And then all of our talent, so like DJs and stuff like that. I think in total we probably spent maybe $5,000 on that first party.
Okay. Yeah. And at this point, were you guys thinking about making it into a formal business? Like, were you thinking about LLCs? When did that come into the process?
Not at all. It was straight vibes. Like, to be honest, it was just going to be a one-off event. Like, it was just something that we were super excited about.
Oh, really?
It was really just going to be a one-off event. Yeah. And it wasn't until after the party where it was just everybody was in the state of shock. And yeah, people. And
you guys are the guests, or both?
Both of us.
Wow.
Everybody was like, "What just happened? What was that?" I remember leaving the venue and I see like just a host of people wearing yellow, like walking to the train. I'm like, "Wow, did we really just do that? Did we bring the whole city out?" And so yeah, people kept asking us, "When's the next one? When's the next one?" And yeah, just as a response to that, we were like, "Okay, let's just make this a thing." So that's it was really just a response off of that initial event. And yeah, it was funny. I remember us like, okay, we already have the Instagram page set up. I remember us trying to come up with cool group names. At the time we were living in Crown Heights, so we were like, we'll go by the Crown Heights Boys. And
I feel like back in the day, like that would have been kind of fire.
That would have been kind of fire though. That definitely would have been. It was some crazy names. We were thinking about like Down North Bounce. I remember that was a suggestion that we came up with. And we were like, yo, we can't come up with nothing. At the end of the day, we're always going to be known as those guys who threw that iconic Yellow Party. Let's just stick with Yellow Party. Let's just keep it simple. And so, yeah, we stuck with Yellow Party. And that's really how it became formalized.
I love that. And how did you guys decide on the color yellow?
That was also very organic. There was no real intentionality behind that initially. We were just like, Black people look good in the color yellow. But now we're seeing how that manifests into something much more deep. Yellow represents energy. It represents new life. And there's so many there's so much deeper context with the color yellow that has kind of manifest into our event. But yeah, before it was really just, our people look good in yellow. And that's really, it's just kind of a celebration of our people and just good energy. That's really what it was.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you thought it was just going to be a one-off event, and now you see that you have all of this interest, so clearly you have to make it into something a little bit more.
Yeah.
What are your guys' next steps? What does the team look like? How does all of that come together?
100%. So to be perfectly honest with you, I would say maybe that first year, we were kind of just operating off of vibes.
But you guys were also young at that time, right? You were like 25 or so?
23, yeah.
23,
yeah.
Wow, okay.
And it was really, and we had, because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they're kind of working to hit certain milestones when they first start out. Ours was a little bit different. We came out the gate with so much success. We had sold out our first event, and then we, did a few other events, and we were just like booming. So we never really had we never really thought about making it an LLC or getting a formal process in place. It was just really just vibes.
Did you feel that pressure to live up to the previous event each time?
Yes and no. I think we were really just kind of having fun. We were really just having fun. I don't think we were too concerned about numbers. It was very just organic and just authentic, and we were just doing whatever idea came to our mind, and it was truly just something that was spur of the moment and all about what our core identity is like being fun, being authentic, being your true self. So those were all the things that we were really worried about. We weren't really worried about like too much like numbers and things like that in the early stages.
And I mean, honestly, I think that is the most important when you are trying to build a community, right?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes what we see is that when you lose that intentionality and just trying to serve the people and you're more so focused on the numbers, that's where community comes second.
Exactly.
You guys sounded like you're doing it the right way.
Accidentally. It wasn't even intentional.
But it sounds like you're really operating off of intention and what feels right.
Yep.
If you had to provide a number to intuition versus strategy and what's important in building a community-based business, what would you assign that percentage as?
Wow. I would candidly say 80% intuition, and then the other 20% strategy. And for further context too, just how our upbringing. So my parents are both entrepreneurs.
Oh, really? And what did they do?
So my dad, entertainer. So I don't know if you remember the Commodores.
Yep.
Late Commodore.
If you don't know, look it up.
So yeah, my dad was the founder of the Commodores, lead guitarist. And, so he had his success, as building a brand, working in a band, working with the team. My mom is an attorney. And so, she's two opposite ends of the spectrum, but, she has her own clients that she works with. And so we just grew up kind of seeing what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And a lot of the values that our parents instilled into us were things like, working with people that you trust, working with people that you like, paying attention to like certain details that don't, necessarily align with what your values are. And so just subconsciously, I think that's why a lot of the decisions that we made and the way that we moved were kind of based off of like, more so not vibes, but just more so intuition. And then I think as we started to continue building the business and working with more collaborators, that's when we were like, okay, we need a little bit more strategy and more structures in place. So I think that strategy kind of became implemented later down the line. But yeah, most of it was really, and I mean, even till this day, I think intuition. Sometimes you just know when something feels right, when you have a really strong core belief system. You're like, okay, that's all you gotta do is just put it against your cores, and then you're like, okay, yeah, it doesn't really sit right, or it's not really a good fit. So that's how we always kind of operated, really.
So obviously intuition comes natural to you because that's how your family raised you. But if you had to give advice to someone who wanted to kind of strengthen their intuition or tap into that from a business perspective, how would you suggest they go about that?
Yeah, I think it's really just nailing down what are your core beliefs, what are your non-negotiables. For us, we have 3 pillars.
Okay.
So for Yellow Party, fun, that's the number one thing. Fun and like, letting loose, being your best self. 2 is authentic. Are you able to show up 100% who you are? And then 3, just creating a premium experience. And so those 3 core values are something that we have a strong understanding of. And that's how we're able to kind of put different opportunities or, other things that come up against, how we want to move or what decisions we want to make. So that's the advice I would give any entrepreneur. Have your core values and your core beliefs down pat. So you'll have like better discernment on like what decisions to make.
That's great. Yeah. I love that so much. Okay, so I want to go back to the team because you mentioned it's you and your brothers.
Yep.
And that is not an easy thing to do. One thing about me, I feel like my family has seen the worst side of me because I am so comfortable with them.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that can be hard to manage, especially when you're building a business and something that you guys all have skin in the game, something that you guys are all passionate about. Obviously, emotions can heighten, and they can heighten really quickly, especially if you're a family.
Yeah.
How did you guys decide on whose role was going to be what? And also tell us what the roles are amongst the brothers.
Wow, I love this question. So I'll first start off by saying working with family is not easy at all. We're not perfect. And I think because we're so close and because it's blood, you have a different dynamic in terms of like, so there's certain instances where like we'll be in meetings and one of my brothers will come to me and be like, I don't like the way you spoke to me in a certain way, or like we'll argue about just other things that are just, outside of the scope of like somebody who's you're not related to, you wouldn't have to really deal with.
Absolutely.
And so it's challenging. And then on top of that, our team is so different. Like we're brothers, but like we're all such different people. And so there's been instances where sometimes like somebody will have like a certain opinion or a certain like for example, my brother Gabe, so he's gay. And so he would have a certain idea of like how we should market an event. But obviously like, you know, our audience is not necessarily 100% like LGBTQ plus. And so he would feel like, oh man, like y'all are not trying to cater towards like some of my ideas. And he would feel like, you know, he would take it personally at times.
And that's very accurate.
Yeah.
Right?
And so those are the types of things where it's like, man, like, you know, we're all such different people. We're brothers. How do we make this thing work? So it was that aspect. And then the second thing, and going to your second question about how we identified the roles. So that was a little tricky because we are so close. It's like kind of awkward. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and call you like my secretary or like.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, I don't want to give you a title.
And it's easy to feel slighted by something like that.
No, honestly. And so to be perfectly honest with you, like the first year and a half, like we were titleless.
Okay.
And it wasn't until we started getting bigger opportunities and, you know, we started getting busier with like our day jobs and stuff like that, where we needed to kind of develop a stronger system. And so we were like, okay, what are our roles? What is everybody accountable for? I kind of always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to take on that presidential role. And I really did that by leading by example. It was always awkward for me to be like, hey, y'all, like I'm the president.
And you're also the middle one of the brothers,
and I'm
right?
the middle child.
So I can only imagine as an older, because I'm the oldest. So I can't imagine calling my younger brother a president.
No, yes.
So
it feels weird.
Yeah, how did they come? Like, were they all okay with that when you first presented it? Did you present it?
So what I did was I really just led by example. So I always made sure that you know, I was the one leading the meeting. So I would come up with the agendas and like, you know, tell everybody, okay, this is what we need to prioritize. This is what needs to get done. I'm usually like the main point of contact, you know, with like collaborators. So if it's sponsors, you know, obviously I work in like brand partnerships. And so I was usually the ones handling a lot of like the external comms. And so I was just very intentional about like, okay, these are the gifts that I've been given. This is what I'm good at. Let me just do it first. So when that conversation does come up eventually, I'll have, you know, it'll make sense, you know. And so that's exactly kind of how it panned out. So when we did sit down and have a meeting and, you know, we started discussing like, okay, what are our roles? We're just kind of operating off of vibes right now. When I put forth me being the president, it was kind of a no-brainer. So that kind of made sense. My brother Ryan, he's our music guy, so in-house DJ. And he just kind of he creates the official sound of Yellow Party.
Okay.
Our brand is really built off the experience. It's a fun brand, and his sound, if you ever listen to his set, his name is Ryan Hills, for anyone out there. Very, very fun, very energetic DJ. And then he's just kind of like our person on the ground. Like he operates his own party series as well, separate to Yellow Party. And so I think him just kind of being on the ground, on the scene, is really helpful to us in terms of like, you know, getting insight on like our audience and, you know, just the community. So yeah, that's Ryan. Gabe, he's a lawyer.
Okay, we love that.
Yes,
an in-house lawyer is ideal.
Ideal. And you always need like an in-house lawyer to kind of keep you in check.
Absolutely.
He's just he's the bad guy, if you
Okay.
So he's, you know, all about business. And so like when we did start doing bigger deals, when we started working with like labels, when we started working with like brands, he was the one really pushing back on like, okay, this offer doesn't make sense. Like, let's redefine print. What can we push back on? So he's definitely like the one that kind of keeps us in check from like a legal perspective. And then also he's very creative too. So, his title is Chief Strategy Officer. And so I think he really helps us push the boundaries on how we show up and just thinking outside of the box. So yeah, that's really been Gabe's role. And then Timmy, we call him the fourth McClary brother. More than anything, I think he's been really crucial to like keeping us together, because like I said, we don't, as brothers, it can be difficult working in business. So it's good to have like somebody outside of your actual blood to kind of keep us in check. But yeah, he's our operations guy and our finance guy. So everything numbers related. He went to school for business. And so, yeah, shout out to Timmy.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that there's 4 of you, and clearly there is, I feel like when you're working with family, things can become very colloquial, very casual, because you guys are obviously used to being with each other. You mentioned that you have weekly meetings.
Yeah.
Is there any other operational structures that you're ensuring it's in place so that the business is always moving forward?
100%. I would say, so yeah, we always make sure that we meet weekly. Sometimes depending on like what event we have coming up, we'll enhance that. So we'll do like throw in a Wednesday or something like that to make sure.
What do those agendas normally look like, since you do put the agenda together?
Yeah. So what it typically looks like, so we always, it's a business, so we always discuss the numbers first. So I always let Timmy kind of kick it off with like, where are we with projections? Where are we with our expenses? Because obviously, it's not cheap. And then what do we need to do in order to create like a real profit? And so we always start off with numbers. Then we prioritize whatever project or whatever event that is most pressing. So most recently we did our staple Yellow Party event.
Yep.
May 17th, and that was a movie. And so, yeah, we'll really talk about strategy on like whatever we have in front of us. And then we usually use the end of each meeting to kind of talk about upcoming opportunities that we have. So we all have our own respective networks, and we constantly getting offers to do collaborations, and, we'll be entering different cities. And so we'll just talk about all the other like opportunities that we have and what makes sense and how can we piecemeal it together. And yeah, that's generally how like our meetings kind of are structured.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, I want to get into a little bit of the specifics of how you guys manage working together as brothers, because obviously it isn't always easy, as you just mentioned, like with Gabe, right? It was Gabe?
Yeah.
Yes. With Gabe, like, of course, everyone wants to have their feelings heard, and they want to ensure that their creative insight is being taken into account. How do you manage the familial and the business relationships?
That is a really good question. I will say, I remember being a kid in elementary school. I was probably like 10 years old, and our dad sat us down. And
Wow, early.
Yeah.
He was not playing around.
He was not playing around. Our dad sat us down, and he made us watch The Godfather.
Great movie.
Great. I honestly probably didn't even know what the storyline was about. But the biggest takeaway I got from that movie was always keep it in the family. And so I think there was like a deeper meaning as to why he was making us watch this movie that we shouldn't have been watching at that age.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So always keep it in the family definitely, stuck with me. And yeah, never go against the family. So I think there's a certain level of like loyalty and respect that we have for each other. So whenever, if there ever is a situation where we do have disagreements or arguments or things like that, I think we always come to it open-minded. And, we always, at the end of the day, we always treat each other with respect, and we always support each other. And so I think that's what really helps the family and business dynamic, aspect work. For example, Ryan, like I said, he has his own business outside of Yellow Party where he's throwing events. And so we always make sure that we show up for him for his events,
And you don't feel like that's competition? Because it's kind of overlapping with the community a little bit, right?
That's a good question. And honestly, at first I did see it as competition. And we've had arguments about that. That was definitely a roadblock that we had, reached at a certain point where I'm like, man, Ryan's putting so much energy into his own brand. I almost felt like it was like competing with ours. So those were conversations that we had. And then I feel like I was able to kind of have a different perspective on the situation after a while. And somebody came up to me and they were like, yo, Brandon, like your Brian's event is so dope. And he does it more often than you all have the Yellow Parties. I feel like it's a really dope extension of what you're doing. I think it's kind of helping you all keep your brand active in the scene. and it allowed me to kind of take my my own opinion about it and like just have a different perspective on it. So yeah, but I will say in the beginning phases, I had an issue with. I was like, man, why, you know?
It's very fair.
Yeah.
But the latter opinion definitely makes sense
Yeah.
as well. Like at the end of the day, it's supplemental, and you're growing the overall community at the end of the day.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
So,
great. Love that. So clearly you guys have disagreements, right? Tensions can be high sometimes. However, I would love for us to see more Black families working together.
Ooh.
So if you could give a piece of advice to a family that is trying to work together in business, what would you say is the most important thing that they need to take into account?
Not easy. Like I said, it is not easy working with your family. So I will say that. I will say how you make it work is really just being supportive. Like I said, me and my brother support each other in every endeavor. Going back to Ryan with his events, Gabe, you know, anytime he's doing something, like we're always just showing up for each other. So I would say that for sure. And then, yeah, just being open-minded, because at the end of the day, like even if you have something that you want to do or an idea that you think is right, sometimes you need another perspective. And I feel like your family, if you listen and just understand like a different perspective, your family can really help you open your mind to other possibilities. So I would say those have been like the two big things for me that have made this dynamic. And just, I think, not forgetting to have fun with each other. We have a lot of fun with each other. Like we hang out with each other. I know a lot of families aren't as close, but like me and my brothers, like we genuinely kick it. And so yeah, I feel like just being friends with your family is another way to like really build a strong foundation when you're working in business.
That's fair. And I honestly think that even beyond family, the idea of just incorporating play into business, especially when you're trying to build something as intentional as a community, is so important, because I feel like if you're not having fun within your business, that translates to the results.
Yep. No, 100%. 100%. We have a blast together. Like anywhere we go, I mean, we can just be at a bar and we'll just start dancing, and everybody, it just kind of, it creates like a lateral effect of just everyone just feeling our energy and feeling our love. And so I think it really just translates in our business too. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, fun has been something that's helped me and my brothers and like, you know, in our business relationship. So.
Okay, absolutely. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about scaling, because we've talked about the origin, we've talked about the family business, and you guys are bigger than a party now. Yep. You're at the point where you're fulfilling briefs for major brands like Foot Action.
Yep.
Right? So I want to kind of take a step back, because I was talking to Blake Newby. Are you familiar with Blake?
Yeah, I love Blake.
And she told me that she's been going to the Yellow Party since it first began. She was like, but now she was like, at first it was kind of something that felt like it was a little bit like HBCU focused. I believe you guys went to college together.
Yep.
And so obviously in the beginning, you were at the point where you guys were just inviting like your intimate network. So it's easy to have that community.
Yep.
But now you guys have scaled to the point where you have people flying in for the Yellow Party. You have over thousands of people. How do you guys ensure that you are keeping community at the core? And now where you're at the point where you're not controlling exactly who is in the room, but other people are being invited and other people are RSVPing, how do you ensure that the community still stays the same at the core of what it is?
Great question. Shout out to Blake. I think it's about showing up for your community and being consistent. And they'll reciprocate that, you know. So if we show up for them, provide them with that platform to unwind, to have fun, to connect, then I think, you know, they'll show up for us. So I really think that's how you keep the community close. And yeah, I think we're in a unique position where my brothers and I, we're all so different. And, you know, obviously, like when we first started, like the HBCU scene was like definitely our core. There was a lot of like my friends. I went to Howard. Shout out to HU.
Shout out Howard. I got a lot of friends from there.
Yeah. I think a really unique thing about our business is that like me and my brothers, like we all have different pockets of friends and communities. So like I mentioned, like, you know, my brother Gabe, he's part of like the LGBTQ community. Ryan, he's a creative, that DJ scene. Timmy, you know, he's coming from like, you know, he's African, he's Nigerian. And so like, I feel like it's a bunch of different worlds that aren't necessarily typically in the same room all the time. Like we're kind of bringing all types of people together. And that's where that scale kind of came from. We're creating a space where, you know, professionals, creatives from any background can really come together and just have fun. And so I think it's really been our superpower. It's also been, you know, there's been some hurdles that come with that, but overall, I think I describe it as our superpower.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so you guys have scaled the Yellow Party from beyond just a party to the point where now you guys are at the point where you are fulfilling briefs for major brands like Foot Action.
Yep.
So the business model has essentially changed.
Yep.
How did you guys grow it to that point?
Consistency. I think we continue to serve our audience and we garnered a community, and now brands have found value in our community. So we've had the chance to work with the likes of, like you mentioned, Foot Action. We've worked with all types of liquor brands, tech companies like Meta, Spotify, and they all see value in what we're building in our community. Yeah, so.
Okay. And what do those briefs look like?
Yeah, I mean, it really varies. I mean, some of our clients are looking to rebrand.
Oh, really? So it's not a brief relevant to the Yellow Party, but it's something outside of the event and the party itself.
Nah, so it's still very much so relevant to Yellow Party.
Okay.
A lot of brands want to align with our crowd, our ethos.
Got it. Okay.
And, you know, everything that we're about. Like, for example, am I allowed to use Ciroc as an example?
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
oh, yeah, I guess, well, yeah, because Diddy doesn't have any ownership in Ciroc anymore, so we can talk about Ciroc.
No, yeah, so, you know, coming off of, like, everything that's kind of been happening with Ciroc over the past, you know, couple years, they needed a serious rebrand. They launched Ciroc Limonada last year. And obviously, if you even look at the packaging, it's yellow, and it's very synonymous with, like, escapism and vacationing. And so that brief was very, like, parallel to Yellow Party and everything that we do. It's very bright. It's very, you know, fun. And then they wanted to kind of reposition their brand in a positive light. And so that was just an immediate no-brainer. So they connected. They actually reached out to us, and we put together an entire campaign for them for their New York strategy.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, yeah, just stuff like that where it's like, you know, we already kind of have a built-in ethos, a built-in audience. And so brands are essentially just kind of latching on to that. You know, similarly with folks like Meta, you know, we did a really cool pop-up with Meta. And so, yeah, it's really just about how can we do what we're already doing and, you know, serve brands and, you know, help brands kind of come onto our wave, essentially.
And where in the business process would you say that started to happen where you were getting briefs from major brands like Ciroc and Foot Action?
I would say it happened pretty quickly. Like maybe after like our third party in our first year, we got a partnership with Beam Suntory.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think pretty quickly we recognized like, wow, we're building an actual audience and we're giving brands a platform. And yeah, I mean, just right off the back. And then, I mean, there's been other instances where we've been reached out to by like labels and stuff like that. We've done really, really great work with like artists who are like looking to drop new releases. We had a chance to work with like Alamo Records.
That's really cool.
When they were pushing JMB Juvie's new record. And so, yeah, very, very, very immediately though. I think it was probably like within the first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did your Instagram numbers look like? Is that where the brands were reaching out?
Yeah, our Instagram, we weren't even really, I think, because we had real like followers in real life. Honestly, I mean, right now we have like over 10,000 followers. I think we have like 13,000 or something like that. At that time, we probably had like 3,000 on Instagram.
Wow. And you were still getting these major brands interested.
Yes. I think there's power in like getting butts to seats. You know, I think there's, you know, I feel like there's two different tactics. I feel like having an online presence is very valuable. But I think it's a little bit harder to get people to actually physically show up places.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you can consistently bring a crowd in and get people to like actually show up, brands see so much value in that. And I think we've been able to kind of put our mark down in like just experiential. So a lot of brands have been, you know, kind of tapping us to help promote things for them. For example, like we work with Afropunk on some collaborations for their festival. So yeah, there's power in just being able to move people physically.
That's huge. Now, what does a collaboration with a brand like Afropunk look like? Because obviously they're interested in your community. So
Yeah.
are you driving your community to their events?
100%. So there's like a lot of synergies with us and like a brand like Afropunk, where we're both kind of serving like creatives and professionals. And yeah, we're essentially just facilitating our audience to them. And they kind of return the favor. You know, obviously they have a big network and they've been able to kind of activate some of our parties as well. But yeah, it's just kind of like those types of partnerships are more so like a mutual exchange because there's so much synergies already built in to like what we both do. So yeah, we're able to bring a lot of our audience to Afropunk. And yeah, it was a great time that year. That was the year that they had Burna Boy.
Oh, that must have been a vibe.
Yeah, no, it was dope. It was dope.
And do you guys ever pitch brands at all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. All the time, consistently.
Now, if someone wanted to essentially try to sell the community that they've built or show the value proposition to a major brand, how would you do that? Like, what's inclusive of the pitch deck? What numbers or details do you include?
I love this question. This is something that we've nailed down over the past couple years.
Okay.
And we get a lot of compliments on our decks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us the tea.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think especially with any entrepreneur, any business owner, I think it's good to have a solid just overview deck of like who you are, what you've done in the culture, what your audience looks like, what's your audience reach. What are some case studies, examples of like ways that you've worked with other brands? Utilizing a lot of photos and like numbers. Those are all like really, really big things that brands want to know. And so it took us a lot of, we had to just sit down and just make sure we like, cause we're doing all this stuff in real time, but we had to kind of track all this data and just get really intentional about like all the things that we're doing within the market. And so gathering those numbers. And I think it's been something that's very, very beneficial for us when we're going out to market and pitching brands proactively.
Now, how does someone determine what their audience reach even is? Because I feel like it's easy to say, okay, these are the amount of numbers that we're bringing in, but I think the reach is something that's really interesting to show the projection.
Yeah.
But how do you even get to that number?
In terms of like how do you get those insights and things like that? There's some really good resources out there for us. And shout out to my man Dre. We've been using Tabit a lot, and it helped us identify like who specifically was coming.
And what is Tabit?
Oh yeah, so yeah, Tabit is it's a brand new event ticketing platform.
Okay.
Founded by my boy Dre. Shout out to Dre. And it's been super helpful for us because they really put an emphasis on data. And that data has been super, super helpful for us when building out these pitch decks, when sharing our numbers and our audience insights, because those are all the things that brands find value in.
What type of data do they provide that maybe you're not getting from a platform like an Eventbrite?
Yeah, so I think, you know, outside of just like numbers in terms of like revenue, you know, they give you really good insight on like the demographic. You're able to kind of ask people specific questions about like what type of food did they eat, or like, you know, what type of music did they listen to. And I think all those small details, you're almost able to like interview your customers in a sense. And you're able to like tailor those questions to like specific briefs that maybe like your clients would like.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Because now you can say, okay, I have, let's say 500 people who are specifically interested in Afro beats. And now you can bring that to a label and say like, yeah, everyone in attendance at my party is interested in this genre or interested in this food.
That's exactly what we do.
That is huge. Okay.
So we'll put like a list of options, like, you know, of these artists, which ones are your favorites? So we won't ask them directly, but we'll just kind of, you know, gauge it that way. And yeah, we've been able to get some really, really great insights from our customers that we'll just throw into our pitch deck.
Okay,
And
that
so,
is huge.
yeah.
That's awesome. Now, follow-up question I do have, because I feel like there's so many parties in New York City,
Yeah.
like a bunch.
Yeah.
How do you guys stand out and differentiate yourselves within these pitch decks when you're talking to brands?
I love this question. And this is something that we really had to pinpoint just across the years of us, like, building Yellow Party, what really makes us unique, what really makes us special outside of just the color yellow. And I think it just goes back to our 3 pillars. Like, we're truly fun, we're truly authentic, and we really value a quality premium experience. And so once we were able to nail down those 3 pillars, that was really, what we kind of stayed true to in everything that we did. Marketing, whether it was talking to brands, how we position ourselves to collaborators, those 3 things I really feel like is what we value. And I don't know, I can't really speak to every other brand, but those are things that we always kind of lead with whenever speaking to, like, collaborators or brands.
I feel like the word authenticity gets thrown around so much nowadays.
Yeah.
What does it actually look like to stay authentic when it comes to the Yellow Party?
100%. So people can see right through BS.
They absolutely can.
It's always a dead giveaway. I think with the Yellow Party, we always want to make sure that people can feel like they can be their truest self, the truest version of themselves, let their guard down. We're not creating a flex culture. We're not creating a culture where people feel like they need to one up the other person, because everyone who comes to our events are already doing great things. They're already leaders. And so it's truly just at its core about people letting their guard down,
I love that.
opening up. And that's what really makes us truly authentic. And even like the collaborations that we do, we always make sure that it's things that are like truly aligned with our values. Because like I said, it's easy to get caught up in being ingenuine.
Absolutely. And that actually leads perfectly into my next question. I saw a post on Threads, the social app, where someone said that nowadays it's feeling like Black excellence is more so being projected as flex culture wrapped in capitalism, not character or community. How would you say that the Yellow Party differentiates from that? How is it truly Black excellence and not about flex culture?
I can see why they made that comment.
Absolutely.
I can see why they made that comment. I mean, in my experiences, even growing up in Orlando, which is, the nightlife scene there is very much so club culture, or like when I visit my friends in Houston or like Atlanta, I think a lot of times, you can get caught up in situations where it's like bottle wars. You go to the club and people are trying to flex on each other.
Absolutely.
Which is cool, but it doesn't always create a good experience for everyone. And it becomes competitive and it loses that community aspect to it. I think with Yellow Party, as I mentioned before, all of our entire community, everyone's, already leaders in their respective spaces. And we truly just focus on having a good time, and there's no real need to flex on anybody because everyone's there really just to kind of connect with their peers. And so, we've created just a culture and an environment where people don't need to feel like they need to one up on it. If anything, they're there to network and like, grow with each other and, just really just build each other up. So I think
beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, so as we begin to wrap up, I want to get an idea of how you envision the future of the Yellow Party. How would you say the Yellow Party looks like in 10 years?
Oh, I love this question.
It's a hard one.
I truly see Yellow Party as a haven for those next generation of leaders, creators, professionals, to have to come together and just, spread their wings. We're truly creating a platform where people, like us can come together and have fun, have a great time, celebrate our wins. I think it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-days of life.
Absolutely. We need to do more of that as Black people, celebrate our wins.
Celebrate our wins, in a way that's for us, by us, that doesn't compromise the experience, the quality of the experience. And so I really see Yellow Party being that go-to destination for the emerging leaders to just come together and have fun and celebrate.
That's beautiful. And I do truly feel that only we can create safe spaces for ourselves. So
100%.
Thank you guys for doing that.
Absolutely.
Now, if you had to give one spiritual and one tactical piece of advice to someone who wants to build a strong community-based business, what would that be?
I would say
one spiritual and one tactical.
One spiritual and one tactical. I would say keep faith as the foundation because faith is the only thing that's going to keep you afloat. There were times where I wanted to quit. There were times where I wanted to give up. And God speaks to me through other people.
Amen.
And, you know, there's been times where I've heard God's voice through somebody else telling me like, oh, Brandon, like what you've been doing with Yellow Party has really impacted my life and you should keep going. So I would say keep faith at the foundation. And then 2, always, always, always support. Be the person to other people that you want them to be to you for your business. That's
beautiful. I love that. Reciprocity. And that's also kind of based on like spirituality, right? Because when you get what you give is what you receive. 9 times out of 10. And the energy that you give is what you're going to get back. So I love that.
100%.
Now, I always like to close out with the same question with all of my guests. And I will close it out with aligning us with purpose.
Okay.
So the definition of purpose is the reason for which someone or something is created or the reason for which it exists. Do you feel like you're currently living within your purpose?
I love this. I definitely think I'm living in my purpose. And I wouldn't even say it's my purpose. I think it's God's purpose for my life.
Amen.
And so I'm just that vessel. And my goal is to inspire the next generation, inspire my peers, uplift my friends, and continue building this community. And so God has given me this vision. And I'm just gonna keep taking one step forward each day.
Absolutely.
So that's my purpose. So I really feel like I'm living in that.
Absolutely. And I feel like this podcast and this episode was just another extension of that. So thank you for sharing your story with us and all of your insights. I feel like I've been inspired through this conversation and you will definitely inspire all of our listeners out there. So thank you, Brandon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
This has been great.